In this video, we're going to share a clip from our TOEFL Facebook live writing class where I'm going to help you to start to create your ideal essay to get your dream TOEFL score. So we're going to work on the example ideal introductory paragraph to improve your score. We're going to talk about writing strategy so you know how to write that paragraph. We're going to give you a template to use and time management. So you're going to have an example and everything you need to do so you can write a great one to improve your score. Let's begin. So the next thing I want to do is tell you that we're going to write the essay step by step, paragraph by paragraph. So this is an ideal question 2 essay that would score a perfect 30 out of 30. In other words, it would get a rating of 5. And so I want you to notice this is the introductory paragraph. So we're going to write a 4-paragraph essay together today for this question where you know how to perform. You see that there are 4 colors here. That's a reminder that the introductory paragraph is made up of 4 steps. So let's read this together. Work is an important part of our lives. No matter where we are or what we do, we cannot escape our responsibilities at work. As a result, it's important to consider whether it is more important to be able to work in a group or independently. In my view, knowing how to work independently is significantly more important. So what did we do with these 4 colors? This is a standard way to write an introduction for any question on the TOEFL, and the introduction you need to score up to a perfect 30. Simple, clean, restates the question, and gives your answer. So the first step is that within the question, you want to pick a word that is the main focus of the question, but it is not a choice. So again, in our classes, we spend a little bit more time on this, actually a lot more. But what you'll notice is if you say group, that's your answer because that's a choice. If you say independently, that's your answer. That's a choice. So you need to pick a word that both choices are about. And both choices are about how you work. That is why the introduction began with work. So let me give you an example. Let's say that your question was about a way of, let's say you want to eliminate cars in cities, and that's one choice. And a second choice is to let's say reduce carbon production from factories. Let's say there are factories in the city. These words represent the choices to, you can guess, reduce pollution, right? So you wouldn't pick any of these words here, really, for the word to start your introduction because the question is not about this. These are the choices. It's about pollution. So when you read the question, you want to think, okay, what are both choices about? What word? In this question, they're both about work. In this question I made up, they're both about dealing with pollution. So essentially, a nice introduction tells you that the topic of the question is important to consider, right? In the introduction, you're trying to establish that your essay has value. It has meaning. And so what we do is we choose one word with the question that we say is the main topic, meaning it's not your answer, it's not a choice, it is what both choices are about. Both of our choices are about work, that's what we choose. Maybe both choices are about pollution, are about living a successful life. Maybe both choices are about improving education. So that is what we begin our introduction with. You see that black circle. That represents that word. So that's the topic of the question. We say in yellow, the topic is important. That means my essay has value. It's what's expected in an academic essay. You're expected to explain that you're writing about something important. Then you write a sentence explaining why. Why is it important? In an academic essay, whenever you state a general opinion, you need to follow it with a reason. So it is important, why it's important. Then you restate the question. you transition to show. So as a result, we need to consider the idea of this question, right? Because this question deals with something that I've already told you is important. The topic of the question is important. This is why. So we need to take time to think about how to answer this question. And then your answer. So you spend 4 minutes writing this introductory paragraph, 1 minute for each step. So let's go ahead and read that introduction again. Work, we picked that key word, is an important part of our lives, right? Really simple to the point. And then why? No matter where we are or what we do, we cannot escape our responsibilities at work. Now we restate the question. As a result, it's important to consider whether it is more important to be able to work in a group or independently. And now I realize this isn't going to lower the score, but this is not ideal. So I'm going to change some of these words later. But important, using it so many times is not going to lower the score because the quality of the essay is high overall. We don't have to be perfect, but I would avoid that. And so the last statement is an answer. In my view, knowing how to work independently is significantly more important. So I guess I unconsciously wrote important several times. So now you know in 4 minutes, that's what you're going to do. Every single step. You're going to spend about 1 minute on each step so you don't get stuck anywhere. And this is going to be an introduction that raises your score. That concludes our clip from the class. I hope you learned something, feel more confident about your success. Keep studying hard. Know your dream score is coming.